Before we get this what if started, I want to quickly go over a few retcons for this part, since new information has come out about these Dragon Balls. For one, they are apparently ridiculously overpowered, as Granola is able to allegedly become the strongest in the universe with them. With a catch though, as he had to sacrifice most of his life to be able to have this wish granted. Now, while I doubt you have to sacrifice your remaining life for every wish, this dragon is pretty much like the old Monkey's Paw story, where every wish you make comes with a catch. That hasn't been stated for every wish you make, but personally I find that really interesting, so it's going to be put into this story. Meaning when we head back to part 1, when Bulma makes her wish for the perfect boyfriend, Taranbo says that there's a catch with this wish. In exchange for bringing the perfect boyfriend to her, she's going to have to exchange her youth as well, and he's going to make her the age she'll be once they were supposed to fall in love. This catch isn't at all what Bulma wanted, as she doesn't know how old she's going to be. And knowing Bulma, she really doesn't want to become old. When she's thinking over what to do, Monaito arrives next to her, and the rest of part 1 plays out as normal. The Red Ribbon's wish wouldn't change, since luckily Monaito stopped them before they had a chance to even ask. But the next interesting change is that these Dragon Balls apparently don't turn to stone. Once the wish is made, they fly off around the planet, but are always still active, which means that they're pretty much unlimited uses as long as we have an easy way to find all of them. That was the only big retcon that I had to put in here, so let's jump back into the present scenario. Before I do that though, I just want to give a huge shout out to all of my amazing patrons, as without their support, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. You all are amazing. And if you guys want to support the channel and get your own what if turned to reality, then click down below to pledge to my Patreon. It would mean so much. With all that out of the way, let's dive right back into this scenario. The students of Mutaito, Roshi, and Shen have had a pretty nice life. There haven't been any big threats to the people of Earth, and there wasn't a King Piccolo around to wreak havoc. They're all living their peaceful lives training. This peace, though, wasn't bound to last forever, as we have a brand new enemy making his way to the planet, Raditz. When Raditz eventually arrives on the planet, he is pretty confused to find that there are multiple strong power levels here. All of our heroes are currently suppressed, but even suppressed, they're very strong. And Raditz doesn't know which direction to go. He's very ticked off that Kakarot failed to take over this planet, and that he's allowed all sorts of strong warriors to pop up to oppose the Saiyans. He goes out to the power closest to him, and finds a Namekian? What the hell is a Namekian doing on this planet? Well, it's clearly not Kakarot, and this Namekian isn't giving him a hard time with how Piccolo did, so Raditz just flies off towards the next strong power. The Namekian wonders who that was, and telepathically communicates with Monaito, saying to look out for this guy, as something bad may be about to happen. Raditz flies by some more Namekian villages, and eventually detects a power level spiking in power, like it's in battle or something. Could this be Kakarot engaging in a fight? He makes his way to the location of the fight, and he knows this can't be Kakarot. It's some weird bald man with 3 eyes, and he just sniped that guy from a rooftop. Man, there's some really strange people on this planet. Tien is shocked that this guy just saw him, and tells him he'll leave if he knows what's best for him. Raditz laughs at this, saying that this Triclops has no right to tell him anything. And if he gets snippy like that again, he'll end him. Tien's impressed that this man has the gall to speak to him like that. Doesn't this guy know of his reputation? He must really be itching to die. Tien fires a warning to Dunpa at Raditz, saying he'll pierce through his head next time if he doesn't move on. What he didn't expect was Raditz to suddenly fire a double sundae right at him in retaliation. Tien barely dodges his attack, and as he flies into the air, Raditz sucker punches him back down again. Tien tries to stand back up, but isn't fast enough, as Raditz lands on his head and begins to stomp repeatedly on it. Tien is all dazed and confused, not being able to stop this. But luckily, Raditz stops once he feels unbearable pain in his chest. He feels insanely sick and wonders what could be happening to him. As he flies off from Tien, he is shot by a Kamehameha from behind him. Chiaotzu flies towards Tien and asks him if he's alright. He was able to stun the man for a second, but he doesn't know how long that's going to last. Those attacks took a lot out of Tien, but he is able to barely stand up. He took too much damage already here, and he can't defeat this man alone. He's going to charge up his Tri-Beam, but he needs Chiaotzu to distract him for just a little bit longer. Chiaotzu says he'll try, but tells Tien not to put too much power into it and end up killing himself. Chiaotzu flies towards Raditz, stunning him in place once again with his magic. And Raditz is insanely angry, as this small imp is managing to make him feel so much pain. He tries firing multiple ki blasts towards Chiaotzu, which he dodges, and the moment he drops his hands, Raditz can feel the pain leaving his body. Though the moment Chiaotzu brings him back up, the horrible pain comes back. Raditz realizes that Chiaotzu can't do anything to him if he doesn't have his hands on him, so he keeps firing multiple ki blasts at him, and luckily this works in stopping the pain. Raditz then appears next to Chiaotzu and punches him right in the gut, and slamming the back of his head. Chaozu tries to counter with a Dodonpa, but Raditz isn't letting up in his assault. Chaozu lets himself fall back towards the ground, and Raditz sees this as him just giving up. He is confused, but suddenly he can slightly sense a warmth coming towards him. He turns around right as the Tri-Beam hits him dead on. Since he couldn't see it coming in time, the full thing is able to engulf the Saiyan, and he falls to the ground, bleeding and in immense pain. His whole body feels like it's on fire, and he is struggling to remain conscious. Tien passes out right after firing the blast, and Chaozu weakly flies over to his side to see if he's okay. The Namekian warriors make their way to Tien's location after being informed by Monaito of the danger of this new threat. One of the Namekians luckily has healing capabilities, and is able to heal up both of them and ask what happened. The two fill the Namekians in, and ask who he is and how is he so strong. The Namekians have no answers, but know somebody who might. So, they take Raditz's limp body up to the lookout to find some answers there. Monaito is confused on who this could be as well, and decides to use the Dragon Balls to ask Taranbo who this man is. Taranbo is summoned and reveals to the Namekians that this man is named Raditz, and he is a member of the Saiyan warrior race. He came to this planet to get his brother, who they know as Goku, to join him and the Saiyan gang in taking over the universe. With the wish of knowledge granted, the catch is that Raditz will know that they all know who he is, which isn't too big of a catch, and Taranbo disappears. The Namekians wonder what they should do with Raditz now, and what the deal with Goku is. They've been helping to train the boy for quite a few years now, and it seems like he doesn't have an evil bone in his body. How can he be a member of this evil Saiyan race? Monaito says he can try and contact him and see if he knows anything at all about this man. Then, after a while of communication, Goku makes his way to the lookout. He is then introduced to his brother Raditz. The Namekians ask Goku if he's ever met this man before, and Goku says he has no idea who he is at all, and asks why they're asking. Monaito takes this to be very interesting. Goku must not remember anything of his heritage. That's why he didn't do anything to try and take over the planet. He tells the healer Namekian to heal Raditz slightly, enough to where he's able to talk again. The Namekian complies, and Raditz is healed to regain consciousness. He lays his eyes on his brother and is filled with some kind of happiness that seems somewhat familiar. He asks his brother what he's doing here with all these Namekian trash, and asks why he didn't accomplish his mission of destroying the planet. Goku asks him what he's talking about, and that he's not his brother. They can't be brothers. Raditz gets very angry, yelling at Goku that he has failed all of them. And now that he's failed them, they're all going to die by Vegeta's hand. Vegeta told him that if he failed one more time, he would wipe him out. And due to his brother's failure, he's going to pay the price. Raditz squeals about Vegeta and Nappa, and that Kakarot has to go back with him to see the Saiyans. That way, they don't have to die. The Namekians say that that isn't going to happen, and he's going to be locked away for a long time for attempting to destroy their planet. Goku asks how strong these Saiyans are though, as he's sure he can take them on in a fight, even if they do show up. Raditz tweaks, saying nobody can stop these two, they're way too powerful for even him to handle. So, if they struggled with him, they're not going to be anything to these Saiyans. Goku is a little worried, but says that all he has to do is train himself up to defeat these two. The only reason Tien lost was because he was blindsided. If all of them are together, then these Saiyans will have no chance. Raditz is livid that Goku is taking the situation so casually, and says it's his funeral. Goku knows that with some training with the Namekians and his masters, he'll be able to get much more powerful, though he may need help of somebody who knows these Saiyans by his side. Raditz tells him absolutely not, as if he's in jail, hopefully Vegeta won't find him. He's not contributing to help defeat them. Goku says that it wasn't a question, and he's bringing him back to the dojo to train up. Raditz is forced to go to Mutaito's to begin training with the others. Grandpa Gohan is pretty interested in seeing this so-called brother of Goku, and says that he'll be down to train him up into becoming a good person. Shen looks at this like a challenge. He can tell Raditz isn't the best person, and he has experience in training people like him, so he'll try his hand at him as well. Of course, Roshi doesn't exactly trust Shen with training Raditz all on his own, so Goku is going to be forced to train them as well. Luckily, Raditz is still not as strong as Goku, so if anything goes wrong, he'll be able to take him down. For now, everybody is going to be training under these masters in preparation for the Saiyans. The only one who's going to be able to do his own thing is Tien, since he almost died because of this guy. And now they're helping him get even stronger? His master especially? This is pretty infuriating to him, and he goes off to train by himself, vowing to get even stronger than Raditz and kill these incoming Saiyans. The good part about training with his brother is that Goku was able to learn more about his tail, which never got cut off by the way, and is still there for him. Goku was able to train to use his tail like a Saiyan in fights, and he learns from Raditz that he can apparently transform into a Great Ape by looking at the full moon. Learning this information doesn't bother Goku any, and he thinks it's really awesome. The reason it doesn't bother him so much is because he'd never managed to kill anybody with it in this timeline, evident by Grandpa Gohan watching dude train behind him. For the next year, Raditz trains Goku to control himself into Great Ape form, and luckily for them, there are about 12 full moons in a year, so Goku has plenty of time to train his Great Ape form, and learn to control it. Raditz did think he could stomp on everybody and kill them as a Great Ape the first time, but everybody was there watching to make sure, and threatened to cut off his tail permanently if he tried. With all of the Great Ape training, Goku was able to regain consciousness of himself into form, and while he isn't going to get Akari or Super Saiyan 4 or anything, he does get the control that Vegeta had in the Saiyan Saga. With all of this training that the group is undergoing right now, and the fact that at the end of this really intense training session, they have a Namekian who can heal them up right away, means they're all going to be insanely powerful. Goku is probably going to be somewhere in the 15,000s, since he got so many Zenkais while training under Raditz, and Raditz himself is probably going to be somewhere in the 13,000s. Krillin is probably in the 8,000s, while Roshi, Shen, and Mutaito are in the 7 to 10,000 range. The Warrior Namekians weren't slacking off either, and are probably in the 19,000s to 20,000s as well, since they've been training for a lot longer, and with all of these strong people finally around to give them a good match, they're going to be boosting up insanely fast. Real quick for those of you wondering where Gohan is, he has no real reason to train, since he never showed off his real power during a fight, and is just with Chi-Chi studying right now. There's no need for him to go and fight and get killed right away by these Saiyans, when there's plenty of strong warriors around to train to fight for him. The day finally arrives, where Raditz senses the pods coming directly towards them, and he shudders, very worried that even with all of this power, he won't be enough. Goku comforts his brother, saying that these two won't hurt him anymore. This time, he's not going to be alone. Raditz smiles at Goku, saying he's right, and it's finally time for him to get his revenge. Then that's where we're going to be leaving this part for right now. Next time we're going to be diving into the arrival of Vegeta and Nappa, and see how this encounter will go for our heroes. If you want to see that happen faster, let's see if we can get this part to 500 likes, so I can begin working on it. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and until we meet again, see you later!